Hi everyone, this is Helen Chen with the Labor Occupational Health Program at UC Berkeley, and I'm also with the School Action for Safety and Health SASH program. We're going to get started in a couple of minutes. I see that there are quite a few people who are still joining. At the moment, all of you have been muted, so we will not be able to hear you, but if you have questions during the presentation, you can submit them via chat in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, and we will be answering questions near the end of the presentation. We'll get started in a couple more minutes. Hi everyone, this is Helen Chen. Again, I'm with the Labor Occupational Health Program here at UC Berkeley and also with the SASH team, the School Action for Safety and Health team. I'm joined here by Robin Dewey, who is also the lead in our SASH program. And we're very excited to have with us today Debbie Schrem and Justine Weinberg from the California Department of Health. Introducing Debbie, who is our featured guest speaker in a moment. But first, what I want to do is remind you about SASH. By the way, for folks who are listening on the phone, again, everyone has been muted, so we can't hear anything. But if you have a question or if you feel like you can't hear us, be sure to use the chat room so that you can get feedback to us quickly. Just to remind you, the SASH program, the School Action for Safety and Health program, is funded by the Commission on Health and Safety and Workers' Compensation of the California Department of Industrial Relations. The SASH program is implemented by us at the UC Berkeley Labor Occupational Health Program. The goal of SASH is to help California school districts create strong health and safety programs for their employees and also to meet the requirements of the Injury and Illness Prevention Program, or IIPP standard here in California. As you know, we offer educational materials and resources. We offer a one-day training program, which many of you, perhaps all of you, have participated in, and we also offer technical assistance. As part of our ongoing efforts to provide resources to California school districts, we're offering this free one-hour webinar today on green cleaning. As you already know, green cleaning products and practices can be a strategy for reducing chemical hazards in schools and for protecting the health and safety of both staff and students. So we're really pleased to offer this webinar today on this important topic. I should note that if you're interested in receiving a copy of this PowerPoint presentation, we'll give you our contact information at the end of the presentation, and you can email us for a copy. Again, if you have questions during the webinar, we will save some time at the end of Debbie's presentation for questions, and you can feel free to submit your questions via chat during the presentation, and we'll get to those questions at the end of Debbie's presentation. So before we actually begin, we wanted to do a really quick poll to see how many of you are in school districts that already engage in green cleaning or safer cleaning. So the question here is, does your school district use green cleaning products or practices? So on your computer, please click yes if your school district already uses green cleaning products, or you can click no or I don't know. So we'll give you a moment to respond. We're getting there. So go ahead and keep clicking in results, but we can take a look at the, you should also be able to see on your screen the results. It looks like actually quite a few of you almost 40% of you are already using green cleaning products or practices. Some of you aren't, and some of you perhaps may want to go back to your districts to find out. Our hope with the webinar today is that we'll give everyone some ideas and strategies for how to implement safer cleaning in schools. So the next question we have for you is, what are some barriers to green cleaning? So you see a couple of options on your screen. You can feel free to choose more than one. The options are it costs more, you may not know where to start, you don't know what products to buy, products don't work as well, or other. So again, we'll give you a few minutes to respond. I'm sorry, a few seconds to respond. So you can see here the results of the survey. Quite a few of you chose it costs more and also don't know what products to buy, and products don't work as well. And Debbie's going to be addressing these issues in her presentation, so please stay tuned. We are so happy to be joined today by Debbie Schrem. As I said before, she is from the California Department of Public Health, and she's here to share with you her expertise on green cleaning in schools. Debbie Schrem is a health educator with a master's in public health from the University of North Carolina. She's been a health educator for asthma-related issues for over 10 years. She works for the Work-Related Asthma Prevention Program and the Occupational Health Branch of the California Department of Public Health. Today, she's going to talk with you about Cleaning for Asthma-Safe Schools, which is a project that she's developed and led for 4 years. This project helps school districts transition to using asthma-safer, greener, and healthier cleaning products, practices, and methods. The California Work-Related Asthma Prevention Program, or WRAP, aims to identify industries, occupations, and exposures that put workers at risk for work-related asthma. By identifying and understanding the risk factors, they can find new ways to help employers and workers prevent work-related asthma. I'm going to turn things over to Debbie now, and just to remind you, if you have questions, please submit them via chat, and we will make sure that some of your questions will be answered at the end of the presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Helen. It's a pleasure to be here, and I appreciate the invitation to come and talk with you about our program and about green cleaning and asthma-safer cleaning. Today, I'm specifically going to be talking with you about our Cleaning for Asthma-Safe Schools project. That's coming up. Hold on. I know the new slide's not up, so we're just working on that. There it is. There it is. Okay. So the goals of the project are to help school districts change to asthma-safer, greener, and healthier cleaning products, practices, and methods. And since the partnership began, This project initially started as a partnership between the Work-Related Asthma Prevention Program and the Green Schools Initiative about 4 years ago. And since that partnership began, what the Work-Related Asthma Prevention Program has been doing was we created guidelines for healthy and asthma-safer cleaning products in schools. They are developed mainly for California facilities, maintenance and operations school districts. And I'm going to be talking with you about some key components of that today. There are newer products and technologies available so that school districts don't have to sacrifice health, the environment, or their budgets for a clean school. And what the guidelines seek to do is they look to help districts navigate switching products and methods into simple, manageable steps. There we go. So today I'm going to talk with you about the benefits of switching to asthma-safer cleaning. I'm also going to tell you some stories around asthma and cleaning products. I'll go into details about the health and safety around cleaning products, go into details around work-related asthma and how cleaning products affect people with asthma, and then go into lots of detail around green cleaning, definitions, and costs, and something called greenwashing. Okay. And this is a key message that you're going to hear throughout the presentation, which is that there are many districts in California that have switched to green cleaning because in many ways it is not more expensive and it is better for student and staff health. A lot of districts that have switched have noticed some great successes. They have seen that with switching that they have found products and methods that are cost-effective and safer for health and the environment. Green cleaning doesn't have to be complex. What we've seen is that districts can make simple changes in their daily routines, like cleaning more frequently with microfiber mops and cloths, or disinfecting when necessary. They've also seen a lot of trends, and I've noticed that in talking with districts, mostly in California but also throughout the country, that they're saving money on their cleaning products by securing long-term bids, by ordering in bulk, and by purchasing concentrated products that they can then dilute on site. They're also eliminating excess products. Sometimes a district will order, 5 different neutral cleaners, and they don't really need to do that. They can just order one. With the money that they're saving from doing those things on savings for cleaning products, they can then buy new equipment. And so things like microfiber mops and cloths, floor mats, machines that can clean floors more easier and frequently, and high-efficiency vacuum cleaners. And then as a result, with purchasing these innovative technologies, they're using fewer chemicals. They are not doing as much cross-contamination and being more systematic in how they clean. They're being more effective at ridding schools of dirt, dust, and germs. And they're also appreciating a reduced absenteeism because of the improved air quality. They're seeing fewer injuries among custodial staff and fewer worker compensation claims. I'm going to talk with you about a couple of different school districts and what they've done and the successes that they've seen. Many school districts have switched throughout the country, and they've been pleased with their results. Here's one example in Pennsylvania. They've seen fewer cases of absenteeism, also fewer asthma attacks after implementing green cleaning. And one thing that they really enjoyed was they didn't lose as much money for asthma-related absences. In Missouri, they have a state law on green cleaning, and this is what talked about some of their successes. They were able to achieve 28% cost savings. What they did was they reduced the number of cleaning chemicals that they ordered, and they also changed their cleaning procedures. With the saved money, they were then able to purchase new technologies, such as microfiber cloths and wet mop systems, the money that they saved. There are 10 states throughout the country that have legislation guiding purchase of certified green cleaners. California is not one of them. We do have many school districts throughout the state that do green cleaning, including San Diego, Fairfield, Sassoon, and Elk Grove, and they have switched on their own. And this is a couple of the school districts that we've worked with, and what they've noticed, a perk of with budget cuts, people need to be how they're spending their money. And green cleaning, they have found, either costs the same or it can save them money. So now it's time for a couple of stories. The Work-Related Asthma Prevention Program, we collect information using data from healthcare providers, hospital workers, workers' compensation, and what we do is we're identifying cases and characterizing exposures. So here's one story of a 43-year-old high school custodian who had had breathing problems from a bathroom disinfectant and a floor stripper. And what he noticed was that when he went away from work, his breathing improved. He was gone for several months, and his breathing got much better. When he came back to work, the problems returned. He visited the emergency department a lot, and they kept giving him a diagnosis of bronchitis, and the bronchitis wasn't going away. He finally received an asthma diagnosis, and he realized that it was because of his work, and so a year later he left his job. Asthma is a very common problem. People with asthma are affected by cleaning products, and this project helps to make changes so that this kind of thing can stop happening. In our databases, we have many cases and examples like this one. Here's another case of a 57-year-old kindergarten teacher who got asthma as an adult. She had been at the same school for 8 years, and one day she was given a spray bottle. She didn't receive any training on how to use it. She immediately started wheezing, and she had trouble breathing. She had used this product in the past, She didn't get a reaction from it before, but maybe it was a different product because there wasn't a label on it. She had inhalers at her home for her asthma, but she went to urgent care. They gave her stronger medication, and now as a result, she has to use breathing treatments at home. And our final story is asthma from a carpet cleaner. There was a special education teacher who worked with severely handicapped kids, and while on spring break, her carpet classroom was cleaned. In the morning on her first day back, she began to develop labored breathing. She had to leave school halfway through the day. She was gone for a week, out sick for a week, and the breathing problems that she developed there never went away. She's still having symptoms 2 years later, and now other substances also trigger her asthma symptoms. And the cleaning staff at her school know to just clean her carpet with water. So now I'm going to talk with you about some of the common concerns that are found with traditional cleaning products. I know I have talked about some of them quickly with these case studies, but there are harmful chemicals in cleaning products. Not only can they cause asthma, so people who never had asthma before can then get it, but they also make it worse for people who have existing asthma, and there are also many other ill effects. Ingredients in many cleaning products can be acute. So with problems that go away right away, like eye irritation and headaches. Well, not right away. My headaches sometimes last longer than I want. But they can also be chronic and take longer to develop, like asthma and cancer. And so there's this paradox that I see as I've been working in this specific arena now for 4 years. Districts are cleaning to make the schools healthier, but then people are getting sick from the products. And so this project really seeks to end that paradox to actually clean healthier. And for people with asthma especially, it's important to clean, to get rid of the dust and the mold and other triggers, but to clean with products that don't make somebody's asthma worse. People deserve to work and learn in a safe and healthy school environment, and they can, since safer cleaning products and methods do exist. So asthma is a big problem in California schools. 1 in 5 people in California spends their day in school, including 6 million children. We have about 1 in 6 school-aged children in California with asthma, about 1 in 7 for adults. And we have over 40% of adults with asthma in California report that they have experienced work-related asthma. And so what is work-related asthma? It's when a worker has new asthma that started as a result of their work exposures. Also, work-related asthma happens when people get worse from being at work, from exposures at work. Work-related asthma can be serious and make people really sick. So now I'm going to talk with you specifically about new asthma. So I just outlined 2 different types of work-related asthma. One is from people who are getting asthma for the first time who've never had it before, and the other is people who get asthma through work. And so for new asthma, what that looks like is people may never have had asthma, and as an adult, they get it from substances they're breathing in at work. There are certain chemicals that can cause asthma among people who didn't originally have it. Ingredients that are known to cause asthma are called asthmagens, and there's this long, long list of what that is. And once people get new asthma that started at work, it can affect them in many other settings, at home, out running errands, at their kids' school, for example. And so the sooner people stop their exposure, if they're noticing that they're having a reaction to something at work, the better the outcome. If they don't stop those exposures, some people will have lifetime breathing problems from asthma exposures at work. And so basically on-the-job exposures can cause asthma, sometimes lasting a lifetime. So now we have a couple of polling questions. We were going to talk about work-aggravated asthma. That slide did disappear. Hold on, we're looking. That's okay. I can just talk to you about it without the slide coming up. So then there's work-aggravated asthma, which refers to people with asthma where their symptoms get worse at work. I know I've mentioned that. There are many other substances, including asthmagens, that can trigger people's existing asthma, such as strong odors, irritating chemicals, dust, cold air, animal dander, mold, and plant materials. And, oh, there we are. Thank you. There are many cleaning products that can trigger people's asthma among people with existing asthma. So now I'm going to ask you those polling questions. We're going to find them. Things just got moved around a little bit. Sorry about that.
Just one moment while we figure out a technical difficulty.
All right, so we're going to ask you a polling question, and it looks like it's been answered. Not sure why. There we go. Sorry about that. So the polling question that we have now is, has anyone at your work experienced work-related asthma? So if you have, click yes. And if you don't know anyone who's experienced it, click no. I'm going to skip to the answers, and it looks like 43% have experienced, 41% have, and 58% have not. That seems like a pretty significant number to me of just people here on this webinar. Okay, and our next polling question is, have you experienced work-related asthma? So click yes if you have, and click no if you have not. And so we see that about 1 in 4, maybe a little less, 1 in 5 about have experienced work-related asthma. Okay. Thank you all for answering those questions. Okay, so now I'm going to tell you about the numbers that we see in California. Like I said, we have a database and we collect data and information about work-related asthma in California. And what we have seen is that 11% of work-related asthma cases reported that their asthma was caused or made worse by cleaning products. And of those cases, 1 in 5 of the people were cleaning. It was part of their job, and that's the first person that's holding the bucket and the mop. And then the remaining 80% were people who were around when cleaning had recently happened or while it was happening. So an example of what that would look like: a bathroom was just cleaned with a strong disinfectant, a teacher walks in, they have an asthma-related reaction to the chemical. The other thing we've seen is that over 50% of the cases were people who got new asthma that began after they started work. So using safer products protects workers and anyone else in the school setting. We don't have information about the impacts that cleaning products have on kids in school, but it is likely that they are exposed to the products as well. Okay. And like I said, about 80% of the people were around when cleaning had happened, but they weren't actually doing the cleaning. Most of the people don't know the ingredients that were affecting their asthma, and for the people who did know, these are the common cleaning products in schools that they listed. Now I'm going to talk with you about how asthma affects learning and productivity. Kids do have a high rate of asthma. 14% in California have been diagnosed with asthma. It's one of the most common chronic diseases in the country. What we see is kids with asthma miss school, their parents or caregivers miss work. It's a disruption of sleep and their daily activities. We see that there are urgent medical visits for asthma exacerbations and sadly, very sadly, sometimes even death. Asthma impacts family, friends, and schools. And when kids miss school, what we're seeing is a loss of funds and lower academic achievement. So there are solutions, there's good news. And what that is, the best way to fix problems of unhealthy cleaning products is to change them. So cleaning for asthma-safe schools protects people's health, improves our air quality, and reduces environmental harm. And so this is a definition of green cleaning by one of the gurus of green cleaning named Steve Ashkin. And it's basically saying that products and services that reduce the health and environmental impact compared to other products and services that are used for the same purpose. So what exactly are green cleaners? And if you're looking to buy some, what should you look for? And what are you getting with your money? Well, here's a fantastic list. They don't allow ingredients that can cause cancer, asthma, or that impact reproductive health. So they're, like I've said before, they're better for health and the environment. They cost the same or less, and they work just as well as traditional cleaners. Green cleaning, sometimes referred to as cleaning for health, is when you use safer and environmentally friendly cleaning methods and practices. They are less toxic. They have lower volatile organic compounds known as VOCs. They don't allow compounds that create ozone, chemicals that can disrupt hormones. They are manufactured, packaged, and distributed in environmentally friendly ways to minimize harm to aquatic life. They're biodegradable and use less energy. An example of a product being environmentally friendly is that it's concentrated. You can dilute them on site. Ready-to-use cleaners are expensive, and green cleaners come highly concentrated. So you're not paying money to ship fuel across the country. So you're not paying money to ship water across the country. Misread that. So you can automatically dilute your equipment on site, which makes it cost-effective as well as safer for workers that are doing the mixing and the cleaning. Some dilution control systems dilute one multi-purpose product at different strengths. It reduces the number of cleaning products that you need to buy, and it also saves money. And there are different levels of certification for green cleaning. And the one that we recommend in the Cleaning for Asthma Safe Schools project is what's called third-party certification. And that's when an independent third party certifies another company's product that must meet strict requirements and standards. Green Seal and Eco Logo are the two that we think really do a good job. They certify products that meet specific criteria to reduce the risks to human health and the environment. Then there's what's called second-party certification, and that's when an association that the company belongs to gives its seal of approval, like the Carpet and Rug Institute. First-party certification is oftentimes what we see in stores. The companies, they make their own product claims. You don't know if they come up with certain criteria to say that their claims are true, and the ingredients are not listed. So an example is that an ingredient may cause asthma, it could be corrosive, it could kill fish if it enters the environment, but it has a label that says it's all natural or earth-friendly. So here's a little bit more detail about these third-party certification programs, Green Seal and Eco Logo. And what most of the products that school districts need are certified under Green Seal and Eco Logo. They don't have ingredients that can cause asthma, cancer, or harm the environment. And it's great for schools to use third-party certified products because there are no resources needed to determine if the product is actually green or healthy. This ensures that. And these programs are also multi-attribute. So they look at health, they look at the environment, they look at energy. They are not narrow in focus, and they take on a very comprehensive approach. Mainstream companies are certified by Green Seal and Eco Logo. They have comparable prices, and they must meet performance standards in order to be certified, so that they must actually work in order to be certified. Good certifying organizations like these, they receive multidisciplinary stakeholder input to create the criteria to undergo product review, and they also do on-site auditing, which means that they're actually doing what they say they're going to do. So what's the proof that green cleaners are actually better? Well, the environmental working group, they created a mock classroom, and they tested conventional and green cleaning products in schools. They looked at VOCs, volatile organic compounds, which are known to have adverse effects, health effects, and that contribute to indoor air quality problems. There are many chemicals that are included in VOCs, but some examples include formaldehyde, styrene, benzene, and toluene. I'm going to talk about the picture on the left with the curved line graph. And what they did was they found, in testing their products, was they found that workers were most exposed to harmful cleaning products for the longest period of time and had the highest dosage of VOCs. If you'll notice that black line at the top, that's when the VOCs are the highest, when custodians are still cleaning at 0 minutes. And so they're exposed to a lot during the job. The green line, the one really down low, those are the ones that represent the green cleaning products that were used. So you'll see that it's much lower. And the green cleaning products taper off after 240 minutes, whereas even after 4 hours, you can still see the black line is still there. And so even after 4 hours, the VOCs are still there with the conventional cleaning products. The picture on the right, with the bar graph, what they did there was they compared general purpose cleaners, and so they saw that conventional cleaning products had an average of 38 air contaminants each, while certified green cleaning products only found 8. And so here's another question that we'd like you all to answer, a polling question. Oops. Go back. And so the question is, what percentage of products claiming to be green had at least one false or misleading claim? This is going to lead into my talk with you on greenwashing. So was it 10% that had one or more misleading claims, 50%, or 95%? Results. And it looks like about 10% say that it was 10%, 9% now. 40% said it was half the time they said one false or misleading claim. Oh, the numbers, I'm talking too soon. I'll wait. Okay. It looks like we got most of the results in. So it looks like most people say it's 95%, but it comes in pretty close to being half of the time it's half of the time it's a misleading claim, and 10% is 12%. But anyway, I hope you know what I'm saying. And so what is greenwashing? It's when people are led to believe that they're using products when they're not actually green, that buyers are misled into buying products that don't deliver on their environmental promise. TerraChoice did a greenwashing report, and what they found was that 95% of products that were claiming to be green had at least one false or misleading claim. So almost all the time there's at least one thing that's not quite accurate. And so it's tricky to identify the false claims. And so therefore, custodians, teachers, parents, and even vendors, even people who are selling the products, may not know the difference either. Starting a green cleaning program can be challenging and confusing. We've seen many districts that have tried to use and purchase healthier products, but instead they purchased products that were actually not green. They were victims of greenwashing. There are so many products out there. Knowing which products are truly safer from asthma, endocrine disruptors, and cancer can be incredibly important. Third-party products, certified products, make sure that you're actually using green products. And so here's a common scenario. And these are things that we actually found as we've been working on our Cleaning for Asthma Safe Schools project. Companies will call us up and say that they created their own green line, as seen here. And they're claiming that their products adhere to the green criteria. So, oh yeah, our product is Green Seal certified. It's too expensive for us, and we just didn't go through the process. But when we looked at them in more detail, we would find that many of the products would have never passed the requirements that were certified by Green Seal or Ecologo. And in terms of saying that it costs too much, we also looked into that, and we found that applying for certification is frequently a really small part of the budget. It's a worthwhile investment if a product is truly green to get it certified. Here's another one that we had experience with. Company A claimed that they had a green product. It's called Earth Smart Acid. They said it's green and it's non-hazardous, but it has a pH of 1, which means it's very corrosive. It causes burns to the eyes, and it can be harmful, or you could die if you happen to ingest it. This is a product that Green Seal or Ecologo would not certify, but they're claiming that it's green. And the final point I want to make is that just because it's organic doesn't mean that it's green. It takes a lot more than being organic to be green. So one thing I heard from a custodian who had done a lot around green cleaning and knew a lot about greenwashing was that he said, it's really important to double check what you hear with trusted, reputable sources. And one way you can do that is by making sure that the products are third-party certified. Green Seal and Ecologo list all the products that are certified on their websites. One district we worked with received a brochure that said they were Ecologo certified, but I went on the Ecologo website and I couldn't find the certification, and I called them up, and it turns out that, the certification expired 5 years ago, and they were still promoting that they were Ecologo certified. So the only way you can really know is by looking on the website. Okay, so green cleaning, green products, I've talked with you about that. Now we're going to go into green equipment. Green cleaning is more than just the chemicals. There are also better tools and cleaning methods and equipment that are important to use as well. Green equipment is frequently asthma-friendly. It effectively removes allergens like dust and mold, uses fewer chemicals, and so we don't have as many cases of people with asthma. As a result, they use less water, which is great to save on that, increases productivity, and reduces injury. It also helps save money in the future on labor and healthcare costs, and possibly on asthma-related absences. So in terms of eliminating chemicals, here's one example of something called abrasive floor pads. And what they do is they strip the floor wax without asthma-causing chemicals. It's a wet process, and so there's no dust, and you therefore eliminate your chemicals and VOC exposures. There are no harmful floor strippers that are needed to strip the wax layer by layer, and it also saves on labor and chemical costs. An example of green equipment that can increase productivity, auto scrubbers, which is pictured here. They increase productivity by efficiently cleaning floors of large rooms, so you can really get that huge gymnasium cleaned really nicely with little effort. They use fewer cleaning products or sometimes just water, and they also reduce slips and falls. One example of green equipment to reduce mold growth is carpet extractor, and what they do is they remove soil and residues and at the same time reduces mold growth. The Carpet and Rug Institute, they have a certification program for extractors, and what custodians recommend is to use carpet dryers or fans after you do the extraction and the shampooing, because what happens is the added moisture from the carpets that's left to air dry might leave musty odors and wicking that could trigger asthma. So it's important to make sure you dry the carpets afterwards. One more example of reducing mold growth is through steam cleaning equipment. It uses tap water, removes mold, mildew, and germs, but the downside is, well, not a downside, but that people can get burns, so you really need to make sure that there's proper training in place to avoid that. A couple other examples of green equipment include floor burnishers, which capture dust. It's important that they have active vacuum guards so the dust is not inhaled, and it also improves productivity since less dusting is needed. You may have heard a lot about HEPA vacuums, which are high-efficiency air filters that effectively capture dirt, dust, and germs. They help remove allergens from carpets. They extend the floor life. And some districts really love the backpack-style cleaners because they prevent injuries. They're ergonomically friendly. It's important to frequently change the filter and maintain them properly. And the Carpet and Rug Institute has a green label program for the highest performing vacuums. And walk-off mats, I can't tell you how much people love them. What they do is they remove allergens from shoes. They keep the floors cleaner, and there's less dust in the air. So therefore, the custodians clean less frequently because when people walk into the building, a high percentage is captured. People place their mats outside and in doorways, and it's important to change and clean the mats frequently. Now I'm going to talk with you about microfiber, which has a whole lot of benefits. There are microfiber mops and cloths. They are super important tools in a green cleaning program. The UC Davis Medical Center found that custodians used about 95% less water and chemicals when they were mopping with microfiber compared to cotton string mop. What they found is that they're created so that the fibers have an electric charge that attracts dust, and they also have tiny fibers that are smaller than a hair, like a person's strand of hair. And they penetrate the cracks in ways that traditional cloths and paper towels can't. They also found that microfiber mops reduced bacteria by 99% compared to conventional cleaning, which reduced it only by 33%. They also help prevent injuries and illness because they minimize chemical exposure since less chemicals are needed. And they also help reduce back strain because they weigh less when they're wet. A lot of districts are using color-coded cleaning systems to avoid cross-contamination. So, for example, they'll use the red cloths for the bathrooms, green cloths for the classrooms, and blue cloths for the cafeterias. Microfiber is also super absorbent because the fibers are so dense. They hold about 7 to 8 times the weight in water. Conventional cloths and cotton loop mops are not capable of doing this. And they're also super durable. UC Davis, what they found was the microfiber mop heads lasted for 1,000 washings compared to conventional wet loop mops, which lasted for about 200 washings. And they're also simple to clean. Once they're dirty or after a couple of uses, you can wash them with mild detergent and put them out to dry, because they do dry relatively quickly, or you can line dry them. It's also important, though, to wash microfiber with just microfiber and not other things. So asthma safer cleaning is also about updating and maintaining your equipment, so having adequate ventilation, regularly changing your air filters. And I want to take a minute and talk about fragrances. Fragrances in cleaning products does not mean that something is cleaner. Fragrances are really just a combination of many, 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 many chemicals, and they're harmful to health. And I know some people, when they think of the smell of clean, they imagine a certain chemically smell, but the smell of clean from a green perspective is that there's no scent and no odor. Aerosols can be really harmful because they have a fine mist that can penetrate the lungs. And asthma safer cleaning is also about using the right product for the right use. And that includes training custodians to prevent the overuse of disinfectants. Disinfectants are not routine cleaning products. We have in our database cases of many school staff that have experienced asthma symptoms from disinfectants in school. And so an infection control plan can ensure that disinfectants are used only when needed and to use them properly. Disinfectants are pesticides. They're designed to kill all germs, and they have ingredients in them that can cause asthma or make it worse. The EPA recommends that regularly cleaning can remove up to 99% of bacteria with a microfiber cloth, and so for that reason, it's usually not necessary to disinfect school classrooms, including desks. The same goes for floors unless if there's blood, body fluid, vomit, feces are present, or if it's required by law. But basically, disinfecting floors offers no greater health protection than cleaning, just regular cleaning. The other thing that the CDC recommends is routine cleaning over disinfection for high-touch surfaces. That includes doorknobs, light switches, handrails, and shared equipment. So during outbreaks, people can clean high-touch surfaces more frequently, but besides that, that can be a good way to go. And so here's another polling question, true or false? To keep children and workers safe, you should disinfect as much as possible. Tell me if you think that's true or false. I'll skip to the results, but I won't say anything until more people have answered. And so we have a good number. It seems like almost 95% of you say that the answer is false. And so to tell you a little bit more about disinfectants, like I said, they are regulated as pesticides by the Environmental Protection Agency. And one key thing is when we talk about a green cleaning program, EPA does not allow outside entities to certify pesticides, and so therefore they cannot be certified by Green Seal or Ecologo. They do have a pilot program, and they are approving some safer disinfectants. The list isn't very big yet, but we're hoping it'll get bigger and bigger. And so this is a list of this is a list of safer disinfectants. The ones that you should look into using if you haven't already is hydrogen peroxide, lactic acid, citric acid, and alcohol. Ingredients to avoid include quaternary ammonium compounds or anything that sounds like it. Bleach and vinegar, while it's natural, it has an ingredient in it called acetic acid, which is a known asthmagen. And so the next steps for the guidelines are to finalize them. They will be geared towards maintenance and operations facility staff to take the lead and all others to support. And some of the outcomes that we have seen for Cleaning for Asthma-Safe Schools is that districts begin the path to healthier, safer schools. And our hope with continuing districts who do this is to see fewer asthma attacks, fewer cases of new asthma among staff and students. People can also document the cost savings to make the case for green cleaning. Most people think green costs more. It's not necessarily true. Districts can also help the environment by using products that don't have aquatic toxicity, and they can also dilute their products on site. There are fewer worker injury and illnesses, like fewer splashes, burns, ergonomic problems. And avoiding greenwashing is another great thing that we hope will be accomplished through this program. Ultimately, we're looking to strengthen the green cleaning movement for California and the U.S. and to have better political will for legislation around it, so that in places where there aren't laws, that maybe one day there will be.
The question is Laura.
Okay, I'm almost done.
Can you recommend specific products or refer us to other lists?
Yeah, I'll get to that at the end. And then what we saw is that after the Cleaning for Asthma-Safe Schools program, custodians had increased acceptance of safer cleaning products. And we worked with the district in Long Beach, and they were skeptical at the beginning, but after some people tried some of these products out, they really liked them. Thank you. People in schools care really deeply about the kids, and after the Cleaning for Asthma-Safe Schools project, people were pleased that they were making choices to safeguard their health. One district we work with, once they heard about asthma safer cleaning and learned about asthmagens, they said, let's pick a different product. This one has asthmagens, and our coworker has asthma, and we don't want to make his asthma any worse. People also had greater awareness about the impacts on the environment and more confidence to be cleaning for health leaders. And this is my contact information. If I didn't answer anything for you, please feel free to contact me personally. Thank you all for giving me this time to talk. It's been a pleasure, and I look forward to hearing from you in the future. Yeah. And there was one question. What was the question?
Can you recommend specific products or refer us to other lists?
Okay. Can you recommend specific products or refer us to other lists? I'd be happy to talk with you about that in the future. The list that we recommend really is going to Green Seal and Ecologo and figuring out what type of product that you want. So if you're looking for a floor cleaner, look to see what's on the Green Seal or Ecologo website, or a neutral cleaner. I hope that answers your question.
Are there any other questions? If you have questions, please submit them into the chat room in the lower left-hand corner of your screen.
She's asking if you could please show a list of the approved products again.
Oh, go to that slide? You mean the disinfectants? Well, I'll go to the disinfectants. So these are the disinfectants that we're recommending in terms of being asthma safer versus ingredients to avoid. And yes, we can email this PowerPoint to you. Please, you can contact me or Helen, and we'd be happy to send that out to you.
Are there any other questions for Debbie?
Did you see this last question?
Yeah, so the question is, how does the cleaning equipment like the carpet extractor remove mold growth? What it does is it takes out the extra dirt and the residues, and it also pulls up some of the mold.
Any other questions for Debbie before we close out? We do have a couple of things that we want to do at the end, but I want to make sure that there aren't any other questions coming from the participants. Okay, so thank you, Debbie, so much for sharing with us your expertise on green cleaning products and practices. And we hope that for those of you on the call, that you've got some ideas and strategies to take back to your districts now. Before we wrap up, I do want to very quickly remind you of our SASH online resource guide, which is, we're going to pull up the slide in a moment. This is our online resource guide. It's on that website that's listed there. It has a lot of fact sheets and other materials related to occupational and environmental health issues for schools. And you'll also find online our entire set of program materials. For those of you who attended our one-day training, all those materials, including the fact sheets and tip sheets, are on there as well. We want to do a very brief evaluation of our webinar today. It's only 4 questions long, so please bear with us. The first question is, do you think green cleaning is important? If you will take just a moment to answer that. We won't be sharing the results with the other participants, so feel free to answer truthfully. The second question is, if there were, sorry about that. The second question is, if there were step-by-step guidelines to help, how likely would it be for your district to switch to safer cleaning? And the answer choices here are likely, unlikely, and not sure. Please click one of those. Okay, gives you a few more minutes just in case. Okay, I think we're good. The third question is, what information did you find most useful today? So if you could take a moment to type in that text box your responses, we would really appreciate it. We'll give you another minute to respond. I see a lot of comments coming in. Thank you for all your responses. And the final question is whether or not you have any suggestions or feedback for us. And feel free to take a minute here to send us any comments if you have questions about things, if there's anything that was confusing, or if there's anything more that you would have liked to have learned about, please let us know. Okay, I see a few responses coming back to us. Thank you so much. Give you a few more seconds. Okay. And then here is our contact information. I want to thank you, first of all, for participating in the webinar. Thank you so much, Debbie, for sharing with us your expertise, and also Justine Justine Weinberg from the California Department of Public Health. I want to leave you all with our contact information. If you're interested in learning more about our program, please let us know. We are continuing to offer a limited number of one-day workshops in California. So if you're interested in hosting one of these trainings, please get in touch with us. And these trainings are for free, as always. If you would like to receive a copy of this PowerPoint presentation, please also email us. And I think that concludes our session today. Thank you again, Debbie. Thank you again, Justine. We're very excited to have this first green cleaning webinar with all of you. Thank you so much for participating.
Thank you. Please stand by.